Yo, what's going on everyone, Zkarma here, and welcome back to another boring math video here in Borderlands 3. Today we're going over ties that bind and show you how it works now. Because in the most recent patch, they had a pretty significant nerf to this action skill, and I wanted to go over exactly what they did. This video will serve both as a means to show exactly what changed, and also as an update on how it now works. So before I get into this, if you found it informative or helpful in any way, a like rating is always appreciated, and if you want to subscribe for more content like this, that'll be awesome as well. So starting off, what did the patch notes say? It said that they updated ties that bind to only pass weapon and melee damage to enemies. I don't know if any of you recall, but they already said that a while back, and the only thing that changed was that dot damage stopped being passed through. So for example, I have this sellout pistol, and I'm going to apply a dot on this guy. And as you can see, he's dotted, but it's not going through to the other enemies. And that's what they changed last time they said this. And I think they meant to change all of the things they changed now. Because now, let me show you something. For starters, I'm going to show you something a lot of people love to use. And that is going to be Revelation. Revelation, if you guys recall, this would absolutely destroy everything because it creates an explosion that also receives mayhem scaling on the main target, and that damage would be linked and it would be amplified even more. That was crazy, everything would just insta die. But now, it will not pass it through. Check this out. He received the damage, these guys are unaffected. So that's a bummer because that was something really fun to use here and there. Anyway, grenade damage also doesn't go through. So as you can see, grenade, 36k, and that guy over there didn't even get damaged. So say goodbye to those fish slap ties that bind builds. You're never going to see them again. I even tried a shield Nova, and as you can see in this gameplay, the damage dealt by my frozen heart was not even transferred. And now for the saddest of them all. This one actually makes me really sad. Indiscriminate no longer gets transferred. Even though technically the indiscriminate shot came from your weapon, it's still not going to get transferred. So I'm going to grab this guy and wait for an indiscriminate shot. There we go. There's the indiscriminate. You can see it easily. So I kept on doing 1733 as normal damage. Then it indiscriminate 1300. You see that? 1300 damage. And this guy did not receive any action skill damage. So this indiscriminate shot did not get transferred. Which is very unfortunate because as you all know, on Mayhem 10 or 11, indiscriminate receives mayhem scaling and it gets kind of crazy damage. And then that gets amplified again by the mayhem scaling of ties that bind. And it was just something crazy. Even the middle target would end up dying really fast. So how exactly does it work now? Well, like it always did. But now, just like the patch notes say, only damage coming from your gun and melee will be transferred. So don't worry, you can still use bonus elements, and those bonus elements will also transfer. So let me quickly show you and do some little calculations here. We're going to grab this guy, shoot him, and you'll see that I'm dealing 1733 normal damage, then about 2253. You can barely see it back there. If we add those two numbers up, that is 3,986 damage. That's what's going to be transferred. When it's transferred, you take 20% of that. Then it's going to be shock against flesh, so you multiply that by 0.65. And I do have Tempest, so we got to multiply by 1.4. Ends up giving me around 725, which is 726. Same with the bonus element from your shield or grenade. Do keep in mind that bonus elements on your shield and grenade actually double dip with ties that bind. So let's say I shoot this guy and I have that anointment equipped. He'll take the normal damage plus the radiation damage. That is combined to be transferred. And whenever it's transferred, he'll get whatever damage this guy gets. And that damage back here is going to receive that 50% bonus element again. Same with the 300 over 90 anointment. If this guy's above 90% health, he'll take that extra damage, and whenever that extra damage and everything is transferred, this guy can take the 300 over 90 anointment again if he's above 90% health. So none of that changed. The only thing that changed is that you can no longer transfer grenade dot damage, revelation damage, indiscriminate damage. A remnant orb can no longer transfer the damage either with Ties That Bind. And like I showed earlier, shield nova damage will no longer be transferred either. Also, I do want to clear up, a few of you had questions about do harm. Yes, the action skill damage increases is still going to affect Ties That Bind, so don't worry about that. This is still going to increase Ties That Bind damage. Same with the skill over here, admin. So quick example, let me just show you. I will go ahead and get 10 stacks of do harm. That should give me a 45% increase to my action skill damage. And let's put 1 point in there so we can dot ourselves and get those 10 rush stacks that we need for that increase. There we go, that's 10. We're gonna grab this guy, shoot him. As you can see, that's 1733 that's gonna be transferred. And we end up getting 457. I barely see it back here. This guy got hit with indiscriminate, so don't worry about that. And this damage over here is just revelation, so don't worry about that either. You see, indiscriminate didn't get transferred, revelation didn't get transferred. Perfect example of what I was talking about. Anyway, the 1733 was transferred, turned into 457. How do we get that? Simple. 1733, we take 20% of that. And then shock against flesh, it's 0.65. Then multiplied by the increase of Tempest. Tempest increases shock damage by 40%. And then we had a 45% increase to our action skill damage with 10 stacks of do harm. That gives us around 457 damage, which is what we got over here. So yeah, it still works the same way. Just don't expect those other things I mentioned to be transferred. And remember, it does receive Mayhem scaling. So on Mayhem 11, that damage is going to be 6.84 times higher. So the big question is Ties That Bind bad now? Absolutely not. Just like you see in this gameplay, or you've been seeing in this gameplay, Ties That Bind is still insane. Probably my favorite action skill to use still. I'm not really a big fan of Amara's new action skill. I think it's really fun to use on bosses, but for mobbing, I just rather run Ties That Bind. That phase flare is a little too clunky for me when it comes to mobbing, so I stick to Ties That Bind, and it's absolutely amazing. This change really didn't affect it that much as I thought it did once I read the patch notes. It's just things that are overkill are not being transferred. You'll still destroy everything, and you'll still be destroying everything in the game with Ties That Bind, so do not worry about that. With that being said, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. If you guys found it helpful or informative in some way, a like rating is always appreciated, and if you want to subscribe for more content, that'll be awesome as well. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.